Hugh Keays-Byrne, of Mad Max fame, dead at 73.
He was great in both Mad Max films he was in. I always dug how Miller brought certain elements, themes and actors from the previous films back into the new productions. The Euro Captain, for example. I don't know if this is correct, but I always thought that the blaster in Beyond Thunderdome was supposed to be the disabled guy from Mad Max. IMDb says it's different actors, though. Miller had Fury Road planned since the Beyond Thunderdome but couldn't secure funding. Mad Max is a comic book story written by Miller with some help. Since Miller retains the rights to the story, there are many elements in the movie that call back in each in a strong setting. Most of the cars are named and have drivers listed even if not shown in the movie. One of the greatest villains to ever grace the cinema. He's so truly horrifying that you almost get sucked in as one of his cult members. My favorite scene of his from Mad Max is when he says, "Stop toying Bubba, finish the job." And then proceeds to hiss after Bubba gets slammed with the double barrel. Unbelievable scene. Makes me crack up every time. Fury Road is perhaps the cinema experience I reminisce the most about, and the role of Immortan Joe definitely plays a part in that. We shall resent his absence. I really wish I had seen it more than once in theaters, but man, what a ride. I remember leaving the cinema, blood pumping, thinking, what the hell just happened to me? I watched it twice in theaters. Road Warrior was one of my father's favorite movies, and Fury Road came out around the time of my dad's birthday, so we had to see it on the big screen in his memory. There are two movies in recent memory that I'm truly, sincerely grateful that my first viewing experience was in a theater: Blade Runner 2049 and Fury Road. After both movies I left the theater feeling like I just watched something truly amazing. I took my older brothers to see this. We had a few beers in the lobby. I had to pee when the movie started, and I told myself I'd get up when the action dies down. Almost peed my pants. It never stops. Edit. I got up after the big sandstorm and he's face down in the ground. I'm not the most confident dude. That year I was home from college and was spending time with a girl I was interested in and decided to be brave and ask her on a date to see Fury Road. She agreed. I ignored her the whole time. Movie was too immersive and exhilarating. Every day I wish I had a movie experience like that once more. 10 out of 10 would ignore again. Me and a friend were both out of work at the same time. We were killing the days taking these long bike rides. We headed out one morning, and an hour into the ride it had hit like 95 degrees out. We both agreed to stop, and a quick search found we were close to a theater. We lucked out that Fury Road was starting in like 10 meters. The movie, the insanely cold AC, and a giant bucket of ice-cold Diet Coke made it one to remember. I have enjoyed other movies more, I have been more hyped for others. But I have never been so utterly satisfied by a film as Fury Road. As we just get dropped into the world with the weird almost homoerotic dress, the weird names, the genetic freaks, and then the pan over the drum-playing war wagon to that incredible fucking shot of the chase armada. Blaring war guitar flamethrower with V8 specials belching flame and churning sand, behemoth trucks crawling with crazy warboys. God damn, did they nail it. I think my favorite thing about Fury Road is that it works as a big dumb action movie, but it also rewards you for paying attention, and it's very possible to just not notice some plot-relevant details in the middle of that chaos, and it also works as just extremely well-crafted cinema that you could get hours of video essays out of, and people have. Like, it's not just a good action movie, or good for an action movie, it's an amazing movie with no qualifiers at all. It's one of those movies that reminds you why we even bother with movies instead of some other medium. Wow, today is my weird Reddit moment. Story time. I actually grew up 2 houses down from Hugh in Sydney, Australia. He lived in a big old Federation-era house, and wore his hair long and tied up in a man bun. He usually dressed in a singlet and tie fisherman pants. Only years later did I realize the incense smell regularly wafting down from his place was actually weed. When I was about 10 years old, he and his housemates caught a burglar breaking in, put him in a wrestling hold, tied him to a chair, and guarded over him with a cricket bat until the police got there. He was a very gentle guy. Rip Hugh. This reminds me of that Simpsons joke where the Australian guy speaks to his member of parliament, who happens to be next to his home in a pig farm. Then they go to the Prime Minister, who is relaxing nude in a pond right next to the pig farm. He was my uncle. Disappointed we're all really beat up about his passing, but at least we have his movies to watch and remember him by every day that we miss him. Your uncle was awesome. I loved him in Farscape. Know that his work had a great impact on a guy a half a world away and that he shall live on forever through it. You have my most sincere condolences for your loss though. Everyone goes to Immortan Joe when remembering him, and it's no surprise since he was a big part of what made that movie so special. But let's not forget the character that started it all and was emo equally as memorable, Toecutter. May he ride eternal in Valhalla. How about the Goose Frere? He wrecks out and dude shows up asking what happened. Goose answers, I dunno man, I just got here myself. Always thought that was pretty good. Are Goose and Rockatansky trying to get the kid whose car was destroyed and he's running through the field away from them? Goose on the PA, hey. Fella, you're a turkey, ya know that. I'm sure there's more. Need to watch it again. In all honesty, my hat's off to not only Hugh, but George Miller. He got Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy as his leads in Fury Road, but you know Warner Brothers probably fought hard for a third top billing a list name for the antagonist to help market the film even further. But George fought to cast Hugh, a virtual unknown actor outside the first Mad Max film, and gave him the part. That to me speaks volumes about George and his trust in Hugh to deliver, and he gave a stellar performance. Man, coincidences are odd. Fury Road was on TV last night while I was running on the treadmill. I just looked this dude up and found out that he didn't just play Immortan Joe, he was also Toecutter in the original Mad Max film. I'm sure some of y'all already knew that, but I'd never put the pieces together. Another interesting fact I learned is that Immortan Joe's scepter in the film is actually a personal heirloom that Hugh Keays-Byrne received from his mother that he was allowed to use for the character. It goes to show you that he really went above and beyond to contribute and make the characters his own. Rip to this dude. He played two top-tier villains and deserves all the respect in the world for helping to make the genre of post-apocalyptic fiction what it is today. So sad to see him pass. He played one of my favorite characters ever, Grunchulk, on Farscape. Not that they'll ever see this, but my best and most sincere condolences to the friends and family of a man who brought a sad young man half a world away humor and terror and escape when it was sorely needed. At the time I recall thinking a 300 Sin City-style Justice League with heavy green screen would be a terrible thing. The world was riding high on the Dark Knight and it didn't make sense to me at all. Now looking back I consider it one of the best movies never made that I wish could have made it. He was set to play Martian Manhunter. There are only two kinds of people when it comes to movies: people who recognize Mad Max Fury Road for being a cinematic masterpiece that shows us that all the CGI in the world can't hold a candle to a minimalist, zero-fat script and a genuine vision for fluid action and violence. And people who are complete fucking idiots. P.S. Witness him. I saw Hugh first in Farscape, of all things. Looked him up on he and the actress that played Zahn were both in The Road Warrior, which is how I learned about Mad Max. Edit. I meant Mad Max the original, while Virginia Hay was in The Road Warrior. It was 20 years ago. Oh goddamn. I just watched all 4 Mad Max films the other night. He was so good as both Toecutter and Immortan Joe, but people tend to look over his role in the first in favor of Fury Road, but I will say it was a more memorable performance and design in Fury Road. Ride eternal, shiny, and chrome, as you enter the gates of Valhalla. Rip. I love the video of Day One on the set of Fury Road where he turns to the cast playing the War Boys and in character says, "You look amazing," and they all do the War Boys salute back to him. He seemed like a wonderful guy and I will always love shouting, "You will ride eternal, shiny and chrome," with my friends. He will be missed greatly. Ride eternal Hugh. Freaky coincidence, my Blu-ray copy of Mad Max just came in the mail today. I absolutely love that Hugh was brought back for Fury Road, but I hope his first role doesn't get relegated to merely a footnote. He was a very interesting post-apocalyptic baddie, loved his confrontation with Jesse Rockatansky. Rip Hugh, ride eternal, shiny and chrome. Edit, more detail, spelling. There is some great behind-the-scenes footage of him walking past the Warboys on set for Fury Road, and everybody gives him the Warboy salute with the fingers interlaced above the head in the V8 symbol. It was really a touching bit of footage, as it showed how much respect he got on set and how much everyone loved him. Fun story about Sean Connery regarding that. He was offered the roles of Gandalf and the Architect in Matrix Revolution, or was it Reloaded, but refused both because he didn't understand the script. He then took the role in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because he also didn't understand the script. Then he retired. Legend. Absolutely made the film, along with 50 other things that made the film. He'll be remembered for as long as human beings exist and watch movies, no doubt. That would be so cool, to live forever like that. Now I'm thinking all 14 and deep. Lol. I wonder how long we will watch movies. It's only been like 100 years since the silent era, which might as well be as far away as ancient Greece to us now. I wonder what we, as people, will think of current movies 100 years from now, 1000. Will people even watch movies 1000 years from now? Fuck. Really sad news. The Mad Max movies hold a special place in my heart. I love cars, muscle cars especially, and the Mad Max series really accentuates them, so I was immediately pulled in. Another reason I was pulled in was the crazy characters and villains, namely, Toe Cutter and Immortan Joe. I couldn't believe it when I saw that Hugh played both characters. He did such a great job both times. He helped bring that movie to life, and I'll always be happy that he was part of such a great series. Thanks, Hugh. Rest easy. Maybe I'll see you in Valhalla, all shiny and chrome. Underrated movie. It should have all the success Marvel movies do. Poor release or what? How was it underrated? It was met with huge critical acclaim. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 90 out of 100 based on 51 critics, indicating universal acclaim. In 2017, it was named the 19th best film of the 21st century so far, by the New York Times. In January 2020, Empire voted it as the best film of the 21st century. Received 10 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, the second most nominated film of the 88th Academy Awards. The film won 6 Academy Awards for Best Film Editing, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing, surpassing all other films at the awards ceremony. Underrated? No. He is awaited, riding shiny and chrome, in Valhalla. He's with the Knight Rider now. It's great that he loved to work on Fury Road and the opportunity wasn't missed. He directed a strange and very difficult to find film called Resistance. It's a vision of a near future and very tyrannical Australia, and a popular, rural-based uprising against same. A brilliant actor who played a brilliant villain in not one but 2 brilliant films in the same brilliant franchise. May he ride eternal. Fury Road would not be as good as it was without him. Glad Miller fought for him in the role. One of my favorite movies ever, and he is a huge part of why. Beyond quoting the Mad Max films over and over and over, why did he pass away? This article is horrible. Wow, such pointless quote spam. What I've read so far doesn't list a cause of death. It may have not been announced. Cardiac, cancer or COVID are the trend favorites. I blame Mr. Trump. For only the 2 roles I knew him in, they were iconic. Fury Road is one of my favorite movies and his character was spectacular. I ride with the Warboys flame encircled skull on the back of my truck. If you're looking for another notable villain role from Keays-Byrne, check out The Blood of Heroes, one of my all-time faves. The Toe Cutter will always be one of my favorite screen villains. Plus he knew the Knight Rider as the chosen one sent to strike down the unroadworthy. Fun fact, he was one of 3 actors George Miller recruited from an early 70s film, Stone, which had a character by the name of Bad Max. I love that film. Sadly, his co-star and the creator of Stone, Sandy Harbutt, died just a few days ago as well. Everyone quoting Mad Max, and all I can think of is his death in Stone. I'm not scared, 'cause it doesn't hurt. Great actor. How wonderful to have experienced this man's excellent work on the silver screen, twice. It was unforgettable. Sad to hear of his passing. Had the good fortune of meeting this dude briefly at a horror convention a few years back. Very nice and interesting guy who was riding high from Fury Road. Fun fact, he was going to be Martian Manhunter in George Miller's Justice League movie before it got scrapped. I recommend you watch Stone, which seems like a prequel to Mad Max in a way. Bike gangs in Sydney in the 70s. Undercover cop joins them to find out who is trying to kill members. Hugh is great on it. He's a somewhat regular customer where I work, incredibly nice guy, was always happy speak to fans. Rip mate. Along with the role of Toe Cutter in Mad Max 1979, he was also in the 1974 film Stone as Gravedigger's member, Toad. Rip Hugh Keays-Byrne. I just watched Fury Road last night. May he ride eternal shiny and chrome on the endless highways of Valhalla. Holy shit. All this time I didn't realize that Immortan Joe was played by the same man as Toe Cutter. I feel like such a failure. I'm going to surrender all of my Mad Max DVDs to the authorities. Not seeing Fury Road in theaters is one of my biggest regrets in film. I saw it at a indie living room size theater in 2018 and loved it immensely. He was so talented at being scary and weird in the film. We will remember the Toe Cutter when we look into the night sky. For those too young, he also played the main villain in the first Mad Max film. Then we are going to show them, Bubba. Long ride the Toe Cutter and Immortan Joe. For the Knight Rider and his Half-Life Warboys, he is awaited in Valhalla. Shiny and chrome. Witness. I wasn't a fan of Fury Road. Not because of him. I kind of ended the Mad Max franchise at the Road Warrior. He will forever be one of my favorite villains as the Toe Cutter. The way he says, don't change the subject, and the way he hisses at Max. Fucking brilliant. As Immortan Joe, he was one of the most memorable villains in movies. Only beaten by Vader in my opinion. I watched Fury Road 3 times and still waiting for an opportunity to see it again at the cinema. Fury Road is my personal favorite movie of all time, and Immortan Joe is a huge reason for that. There will never be another quite like him. Thank you, Hugh. Everyone is going to remember Immortan Joe, but the Toe Cutter is seriously one of the best movie villains of all time. Super underrated in my opinion. Does anyone else feel a slight disrespect when they word these articles with the word dead? I don't know why, but that just seems insensitive to me. Man, do we need to know every time someone semi-famous dies? I feel like it brings me down and I'd be better off not knowing. My condolences to his family and friends. I'm a huge fan of character actors, and his portrayal of 2 of the most iconic post-apocalyptic villains in cinema history left its mark on me. He will be missed. Oh man, rip. When I saw the new Mad Max, I thought, this bad guy is a good bad guy. I was unaware he was the original bad guy. That's pretty sweet. Older Aussies might also remember him as WW from the kids' show Secret Valley. Loved that show in the 80s. I'm gonna miss the Toe Cutter. One of my favorite movies was the first Mad Max. I was thrilled they had picked him up for Fury Road. Lest we forget he was the bad guy William Whopper in kids' show Secret Valley. He was pretty good in biker film Stone as well, along with Vincent Gill, Knight Rider. Was literally watching Fury Road last night, wondering what else I knew him from, looking him up on IMDb. So weird to see this the next day. I did learn that he was also Grunlick in Farscape. The Toe Cutter will always be one of my favorite screen villains. Plus he knew the Knight Rider as the chosen one sent to strike down the unroadworthy.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And if you are new, subscribe and click on the bell icon.